Day 67, Tipping Culture, Part 2. In the second or third year of running my pet care business, I was in that really weird in between spot between finishing college and the real world. So, anyway, I was, no more student loans, no more loan subsidized housing. Like, for all intents and purposes, like, out in the real world, oh shit, no like general structure because you're not in classes anymore. I guess most people just get a job. Um, yeah, I was the crazy one that decided to run a business. And I had these long term clients, they became long term clients. Excuse me. And I'll never forget that we met once, I watched their dog, watched their house, and I knew that they owned several businesses, and they tipped me every single invoice. And they were for all intents and purposes like the first ones that were like my real long-term clients that tipped me every single time. And like I just remember, like, first off, that was, again, not only was this the first time that it had happened, but I remember thinking, like, wow, one, I want to be able to be that person one day. That was just my thought. And it said, I could tell that they were too, that they were very appreciative of my time and the work that I provided. And it said a lot about their character. And that, like, one seemingly simple action, again, especially for the time of life that I was in, made a huge difference. And so that's really where I come from, my own personal tipping culture, if you will, where my default is to, like, something has to go very wrong for me not to tip. And normally I'll just tip lower. But, like, for all intents and purposes, I always tip because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to drive Uber and Lyft until 2, 3 a.m. sometimes because that's how you got to drive to get the little bonus, the little carrot that they give you. I know what it's like to sometimes drive, do the airport pickups, and for me, I always hopped out of the car, help people with their bags. I don't care. Like, it was 1 or 2 bags, man, woman. I always hopped out of the car and helped them with their bags. I don't know what else to say. Always. And, like, I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. Dropping these people off, and mind you, in their gated communities, it's never. What I quickly realized is that, by and large, the people that tipped, the people that were generous, were not the wealthiest. I realized that very, very quickly, dropping these people off at their gated communities, helping them with their 3, 4 bags, and then them stiffing you. That's trashy. And I will die on this hill. So I think that I will die. I also believe that people that are kind of stingy like that, they absolutely don't know what it's like and what it's like to be on the other side. They've never known. And that's a personal problem. But I'm also a firm believer that the universe is a very generous place, and I tip well because I have been tipped well. And it's all going to come back to me. Why do I want to put myself in a low vibrational state when the way to bring more into your life is to give and to invite more and to be free with the thing, with when you are in a place, right? When you are in a place when you're able to be generous and bless others. So whether or not you think that this is a valuable business skill, for me, because so much of business is building relationships, and you don't even have to be with me on the whole karma bit and the whole, like, things come around, but I prefer to be in a higher vibrational, generous, expanding mindset and to bring in more good into my life. And I know that the way that I do that is by giving and by being good. So I know I've got a little little off the rails in this video a little bit, and I've said that a huge part of why I'm more successful, why I have found the success in business, is because I am more spiritual and I do have a deeper connection with my ancestors. And that's fine. You know, you don't have to be spiritual. That's okay. I am very spiritual, and I do attribute much of my success to that. But the last thing I want to say, the final thing I want to say, is that my grandfather, when I visited El Salvador, one of the first things that people said when they found out that I was his grandson was they talked about how generous this man was. And again, this is just me, but if you didn't leave the world better than you found it, what was the point of your life? Yeah, I said that. Like, if all you did was take and accumulate, like, for me, that's a bit of a psychopathic mindset. Like, you should want your legacy to be that you were a good person, that you improved people's lives, that you poured into people, that you raised people up. And I promise you, even if you think that this is not pertaining to entrepreneurship, it 100% is. And these are the keys to why I have found success in business. So if you've stayed this long, I thank you. I know I've got a little bit in the fuzzy zone, right? But this all comes back to tipping culture and why I have established the practices that I have.